Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. It's so great to see everybody. If you could just take a moment, we want to go ahead and in the chat, if you could, next to your name, rename yourself. So when you open up the participant slide or the section of your Zoom, find your name, go down to your name, and where you see that button that says more, click on there and you can rename yourself. And please, along with your name, put the organization that you are representing. We'd really appreciate it. We got a lot of people on this talking circle, so that will help us keep track. We're also going to be doing some breakout groups. And so I really want to just make sure we're all organized in order to do that. Again, go ahead and include your organization name um, as you rename yourself in the participant section of the Zoom. Just take a little bit for everybody to do that. Get all of our people on. Make sure your sound is working. Okay, well, we're going to have a big group today, so let's go ahead and get started. Before we get into the meat of today's talking circle, I want to go ahead and play our disclaimer.
This
Oh, shucks. Sorry about that. Where'd it go? One back. Uh, always happens to me. Okay, never mind. I will just read the disclaimer. This presentation was produced under U.S. Department of Education contract number GS00F115CA with Synergy Enterprises Incorporated. The views expressed herein do not necessarily represent the positions or policies of the U.S. Department of Education. No official endorsement by the U.S. Department of Education of any product, commodity, service, or enterprise mentioned herein is intended or should be inferred. Alrighty. I still see some people getting their audio on. As you're getting your audio on, please go ahead and go into the participants section of the Zoom and rename yourself. Include your name, but also add your organization's name onto your name, and that will help us organize our breakout groups. Again, this is your NYCP October 2022 Talking Circle, and we've got a lot of things to cover. We first are going to welcome a whole new bunch of NYCP grantees. Congratulations. We're going to get into some APR updates and budget revisions, as well as sort of providing you with some tips on how to kick off a new grant year. And then at the end, of course, we'll be going over some upcoming events. Well, you know what I noticed is that we did not have an introduction slide in here for your program officer. And so I know Donna is here. Donna, you want to chime in, say hi, or provide any kind of information? Go for it.
Hi, everybody. Thank you all for being here. To all of my new grantees, congratulations on getting the grant. And to all my NCE grantees, we're going to have a great NCE year. If you are new and you haven't set up a meeting and one-on-one meeting with me yet, email me. We'll set that up. I did send out a Calendly link for you to choose times, but if that didn't work, just go ahead and email me. We need to set up a one-on-one time that is a part of your grant new grantee duties, is setting up that one-on-one time with me. So I will look to see who I have those and who I don't have those set up with, and we'll go from there. And that's all I have at the moment, Olani.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Donna. Okay, so here are our new fiscal year 22 NYCP grantees. Just a round of applause. Congratulations. We really want to like get to know you. So to help us get to know one another, let's again, I said rename yourself in Zoom if you haven't done already. Please include along with your name your the sorry, your organization name. So again, we can associate the name with particular organizations. Also joining us today are our no cost extension grantees from fiscal year 2018. Welcome. Again, being a part of Talking Circles is going to be helpful for you moving forward on your NCE grant. And so we want to continue to encourage you to participate in all of the Talking Circles, as well as any other technical assistance activities and events that are coming this year. So, just a reminder that we gain more when everyone participates in the talking circles. We are a large group, and so we're going to really try to think of creative ways and make sure that everyone has space to have a voice. We want to make sure that talking circles are a time for you to have strategic conversations for really collective success of the entire NYCP program. Make sure that everyone's voice is valuable and that talking circles are safe places. Also, we want to make sure that everyone will have an opportunity to share. So we might engage you in round robin discussions or even breakout rooms, again, because our group is a large group. This will include by potentially calling on you to provide your insight. Also, what we've been doing with Talking Circles is we've been doing some pre work with some grantees who may bring up a concern or maybe doing something that they'd like to share or that we know that you're doing. We might actually email you or contact you before the talking circle and ask you to share. And it's just a way to sort of, again, help us create a really dynamic talking circle. I apologize for my friends in the back. You can probably hear the chickens. We have random chickens in our community that like to get on a Zoom meeting. That's just the way it goes in Keokaha. I am located, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Oleni. I am part of the SEI Technical Assistance Team. I'm joined by Sarah Brightwell, who's here as well. Um, and I am actually located in Hilo, Hawaii, um, which is sort of a suburban area, but we do have chickens in a community that is considered Hawaiian homelands, which is sort of a little bit like a reservation, but not. So that's me. But we're going to take some time for you folks to get to mingle. We've created sections, and we really want to take this time for you to share. We're going to put you out into breakout rooms with a few of your peers. We're going to really try to make sure that each room has a mix of experienced and new grantees. And so here are some of the things we'd like you to discuss. We want to start by you introducing yourself and your project. And then here are two discussion questions for you. For our more experienced grantees, we would like you to share what is your biggest lesson learned that could really benefit a new grantee. And then for our new grantees, what we'd like you to share is what questions do you have as you launch your NYCP project. Again, be prepared to share with the larger group when you return. And Sarah also put those questions, those breakout questions in the chat. So as you move into your breakout sessions, if you forget, you can always refer to the chat. I'm going to just check the chat for a second to see if there's any questions about our activity before we break out. Okay, again, if you forget what you're supposed to be, what you're discussing during the break, you can always sort of go back and refer to the chat. Sarah put those questions there. So let's go ahead and break out into our chat. Oh, I'm sorry, breakout sessions.
Those chickens are really talking today.
They're like right here. I'm gonna close my window. Gosh, Lord, Lordy, Lord have mercy. I'm gonna go in and pop into some. Oh, did you wanted to tell me?
No, I'm going to see if Kevin, Ann, or Robert need help joining their room.
Okay. I'm gonna pop into some of the breakout rooms and see what they're talking about.
Yeah, and Donna, I've got you set as a co-host as well, so you should be able to pop around to rooms if you want.
Okay,
don't
that's
have
what I
to.
was thinking, but then I thought maybe stay out of them so they can talk candidly if they need to.
Yeah. Yeah, let them have their moment. Kevin, Robert, Ann, do y'all need help getting into your rooms? And Ann and Robert, if you're not able to unmute, you're welcome to pop in the chat if you need help escaping to your room. Robert, you're the last man standing. You see the breakout room area. Hi, Heather. Everybody is actually out in breakout rooms, so I'll pop you out to one now. Let's see. Send you.
So it looks like most of them are just starting the experience, like lessons learned. I'm just
Awesome.
mentioning that because of time. I don't know.
Yeah, and I would say honestly, if they need a little extra time here, I think they'll find hopefully good benefit in starting to get to know each other, so we can always kind of
Okay.
squash some of the end stuff.
Okay, we'll do.
And everybody's actually in their rooms now,
Yeah.
like good children.
Okay. I'm gonna pop back in.
All righty. actually.
Oh, thanks. Okay, welcome back, everybody's. Let's wait a little bit. Okay, looks like everybody is coming back. One or two more. Oh, no, we got a group out still. Let's see. Looks like one group is just wrapping up right now, and they'll be joining. Okay. All right. There's everyone. Awesome. So we'll just go through the group. If anybody wants to come off of mute to share, right now I'm just leaving my screen Brady Bunch so I can see all of your wonderful faces. It just helps with orienting me versus having the presenter mode. But we can go into each group, or if anybody wants to chime in and share some of the discussions that they um, from their group, you can go ahead and come off of mute.
I can go ahead and chime in.
Thank you.
So in our group, we talked about like just because I'm new to the grant. So my name is Brenda Whitehorse, and we just barely got the grant this year for San Juan School District. So this is exciting. But some of the things that they talked about in our group to make things a lot easier was to work closely with Donna and establish a good relationship with her. If she's your, I guess she's going to be our right hand lady in terms of making sure that we're doing things right. And then, and pretty much like really getting a handle on the budget revisions and the annual progress report. And then thinking ahead and what would make, like getting more buy-in into your grant, getting everybody on the same board, and thinking of ways to do that, and then how to sustain the program after the grant has ended. So like with me just starting a new grant, that would be something that I would have to start thinking about, I guess, in the middle part of our grant, and then working with contractors. So that's what we talked about. And just a lot of encouragement.
Yeah, that's some great advice for sure. Um, all across the board, but definitely uh, creating a real close relationship with Donna will be really helpful for you. Another group, you want to share maybe something different? I'm sure you heard a lot of the same things, but anything else? And this can be from a new or NCE grantee.
My name is Jody Stoddard. I'm from Crazy Horse School in Wansley, South Dakota on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. And I guess what I shared with my group is I'm excited to meet with Donna. I actually meet with her tomorrow because it will give some clarification that I can take back to our team here, because as I get asked questions, I'm like, well, I don't want to really say anything till after I talk to our program director. So so I'm excited with that part because I have a bunch of questions that need clarification and we need guidance. And this is our first NYCP grant, so we're very excited.
Nice. Welcome, welcome. Congratulations. Yeah, I mean, I know those one-on-one sessions with Donna are really, really helpful. It doesn't just need to be, this assigned time. It can be all throughout the life of your grant, as well as another really helpful place to sort of join in. I'm sure, as you go through your grant, your team will continue to have questions. We have the office hours, and that's every month, and that's a really good time to pop in and ask your sort of list of questions that maybe you are running into along the way through the life of your grant. So really take advantage. And the other great thing about office hours is that there's sometimes you don't even know the question you want to ask. And so because you get to participate and listen, we have a lot of people just sort of sit in and listen to the other questions from the other grantees. And they always say like, wow, I never thought of that question, but that was a great question. And so it really provides them more insight. So I really want to encourage you, even if you don't have a question, to maybe come on and listen in. It's a really great opportunity. Okay, anyone else? I would really love to hear from maybe
Let
one or
me
two more
make,
groups.
this
Go
is
ahead.
Jackie White. I
Hey,
just want to
Jackie.
make one statement for everyone.
Mhm.
Make sure that your stakeholders understand the entire project, making sure what type of data they need to be collecting throughout the year for your end of the year report or your quarterly report, because we in public schools and grants tend to deal with now.
Mhm.
And they need to understand that at the end of the phase of the grant, you must also document if you are successful or not successful. So make sure that that person or that group that you work with understand the total picture, not just the exciting fun things, but that there's documentation required. And I also say document, 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 and prepare your office so that if someone's not there, they can pick right up and still serve kids or students or whatever your audience is. And I think that's another failure that we make in public education. We don't prepare for someone else to take our place. And it happens all the time.
Great feedback. Jackie, I want to just maybe like push you a little bit on that first comment. So when you're talking about, I know you've have done a lot of work across like a number of schools, a
Yeah.
number of schools.
Yeah.
And so I want to kind of ask you, like when you say you got other people in the schools to understand the grant and it was a crime, could you share a little bit about what those activities or those meetings or those discussions looked like? How did you do that?
All right. Well, first of all, you have to go meet your stakeholders.
Mm.
You don't do it from a desk. So when I took the grant over, we traveled to every site. And I just didn't meet with, sorry about that. I have two phones and they're always ringing. I wanted to meet not just with that program manager for Indian education, who was a part of the grant with us, but I'm meeting with the superintendent. I'm meeting with the finance people. This is a team approach. And with those teachers and those individuals that are hired under the umbrella of the grant, they're implementing the services. Because what I don't want to happen is conflict between them, because the bottom line, kids lose. So that's one thing I changed. It's not from, and the office staff goes with me. We have to understand, and we're all a part of a team, and the stakeholders have to understand. And I think that was the probably the part I would not have done it that way if I had, and Alana, I came in and sort of revamped the whole thing. But you have to go out to your audience or your stakeholders and have them understand, especially data collection, and then celebrate. Had a mom call me today from one of our sites, and when she had a problem, and as we begin to talk about it, her daughter is one of the the shining light at some of our camps. So, but she now has someone to call, and I think that's that continuation after the grant's gone, that now they do have resources to assist them. So, but we go to the site. We don't do it from behind a desk.
Nice, thank you. Thanks
Mhm.
for providing that. And yeah, Donna in the chat says, successful grants start with relationships, and isn't that the truth?
Mm.
Both, and it's sort of like circles, right? Where you start with your staff, and then your board, and then within organization, and then you sort of it's a wave that goes out and just establishing and building those relationships. Thanks for
Yeah,
providing some of the nuts and bolts. Go ahead.
yeah. And Jackie, I just want to reiterate what Jackie said. You know, it is the relationships, and make sure that you build that with me as well. Get on those one-on-one meetings with me. If there's any problem that you think you may have with your grant, call me, set up a meeting. Let's, I don't want to wait until you turn in your APR to see that there was a problem at some point, or there were money missing throughout the year, or program measures that haven't been met. We can deal with all of that during the whole year. We can battle that together. But if you try and battle that on your own, and I don't find out until APR comes around, it's going to be detrimental to your grant. It's going to be that much harder for you to be successful with your grant. And in the end, it is all about these kids for all of us. So that's what I'm here for, is to make sure that you're successful. And what Jackie said about data gathering, start with the program measures that you put in this application. Everything that you put in here is what I'm going off of. So all your program measures that you have, how are you going to get that data? What's your baseline data? Gather that. If you're just getting started, get your baseline data with all of those program measures, and you have that. And you don't have to start, during APR season trying to get all of that. Start now. So, and again, our TA team is the best. You have the best TA team that I have ever worked with right here, and they're amazing, and they're here to help you out as well. So, and all of your colleagues here, you have some great colleagues here that are going through the same successes and challenges. So reach out to them.
One other statement to back what Donna said: don't assume that your audience understands what you're asking for. Assumptions will get you in all kinds of trouble. I know we've created a little, or Kita has a little handbook of information, and they can read it. We hand it to Donna Calvin, superintendent, this about 2 weeks ago, brand new suit, brand new teachers. I mean, we're starting from scratch, but that document alone, he can read it, and then there's no excuses of not understanding what we're doing. So never assume that their terminology and your terminology match, because they don't. They're in a different world. Worked in schools forever, so I totally understand that. So, but communication is a real key, but make sure that they understand what you're saying to them.
Awesome, Jackie. Allison, I saw you had your hand up, but it went down.
Yeah, well, I wanted to build on what Jackie and Donna had said
Yeah.
about documentation and the OIE team. There is a wonderful Google Sheet tracker that the OIE team has created that has individual tabs across the bottom for your budget, for each one of your project goals, any of your GEPRA measures. It is fantastic. And I cannot stress how I wish I had that my very first year of this grant. And so if you haven't seen it yet, you need to contact Sarah Olani, your OIE team, and get that Google Sheet for your grant, because it will save you, especially when it comes to doing your APR. Like Jackie was saying, you need to know what data needs to be collected, and you can share that Google Sheet with your stakeholders so they can put the data on it as they're serving students. So at the end of the year, when your APR is done, you're not freaking out trying to get that data. You've been collecting it all along, and in the correct format, because sometimes people, they do this data collection and they don't have it in the right format that they need to put on their APR.
Yeah.
So like you collected hours instead of number of students, or you collected number of classes instead of number of students. Make sure you're collecting it in the right format that you need to submit. Besides that, if there's anything that I can tell you from my experience, is you should have a solid continuous improvement plan where you plan something, you do it, you check on what you did, and then you act on that information that you received when you checked it, when you validated your information and your progress. And then when you act, don't be afraid to say that didn't work, we're not going to do it that way, and change, because that's the only way you're really going to continue to meet those goals, or try to meet those goals and service kids, is being really critical and invite other people to be critical with you. We try and do a pre and a post survey on all of our teacher trainings, all of the beginning of our classes, every time we've implemented a new module of curriculum, to get feedback so that we can have this continuous improvement. I can tell you our first year, I thought we did a great job. And then I look back on it and go, oh my God, we weren't even close to doing a great job. But you learn. So don't be hard on yourself. Just look at it as a learning experience, even when you fail. Resilience.
Awesome. Really great advice. Let's hear from someone else. What you discussed in your group, maybe a NCE who has another piece of tip that they'd like to share, or maybe even a new grantee that might have a question you'd like to throw out after we've been having this discussion. We'll hear from like 2 more people, and then we'll move on in our agenda.
I can share. Jackie was talking about making sure you have a way to communicate with each of the people that you are working with. So that's one thing we've been trying to do is just go out and meet with each of the tribes we're working with. We have a 4-page overview, which Jackie was sharing that too. If somebody else comes in new and needs to know where you're at, if something happens, you become ill, or you need somebody to step in, just to have that there ready for them to step in. And I feel like that's been most helpful, is just having a clear way to communicate with the tribes that we're working with, and also the districts, of this is what our goals are for each of the years. I like that data measure, so just putting in the data measures too. And the other thing we've put together this year is a flipping book of just resources that we've put together, and that seems to be helpful. So if there's professional learnings or resources, it's nice to have like this one document. We have a website, but it's nice to have a document that has everything all organized together.
Right, right. Really great. Thanks for those tips. And I think, through the pandemic and people retiring, we realize how, the transitions in staff that have really impacted program, and the ability to bring somebody to onboard people, fairly regularly now, to offboard and onboard, is that you really have to plan and anticipate those transitions from the beginning and work in systems to help you have as smooth of a transition as you possibly can. Anyone else? And then we'll move on. This is great. I love all of this sharing. Okay, if not, then let me go and transition. Let me go put my presentation back up, and I will share, hold on, my screen. Okay, share my screen. I'm going to get there. And present your screen. Okay. All right, can you folks see my screen okay? Oh, it's not looking nice. Hold on 1 second. Yeah. Sorry about that. There we go. Okay. Awesome. So I'm hoping you can see my screen. If you could just in the chat give me a thumbs up to make sure that you're seeing the Let's Mingle slide. I just want to check in before I move forward. Okay, awesome. Thank you. So again, that was amazing, and that's really what talking circles are all about you folks sharing your information. Usually we like to provide some information, and that's what I'm going to do now, around some business that needs to get done. But really the heart of talking circles is for you folks to share, because you are on the ground doing this work. And so thank you again. That was really amazing. And so right now we're going to transition into some business regarding APR updates. This is information for our no cost extension grantees. Now that doesn't mean that our new grantees should, maybe shut off, because this is going to be helpful information for you in the future. So APRs are your annual performance reports that are due every year. And so they usually occur around March, April, May, which really is a time of the year where your actual grant program and a lot of your activities have not been completed. And so we do an update in which you can provide information. And so if you have reported 999 for some or all of your measures in Section A of your APR, then yes, you do need to submit an APR update. Again, this is information for our no-cost extension grantees. If you have submitted an incorrect number or a number that needs to be changed in section A of your APR, um, yes, you do need to submit an APR update. And so again, you're going to want to look back at your APR that you submitted and see if that reflects, that's what you have reflected in your APR. If you have submitted all correct and complete data back in March, April, when it was due in the section A for your APR, then you are not required to submit uh, an APR update. Again, if all of the information has been completed, there are no 99s in your section A, and all of that data is correct, then you do not need to submit an APR update. Are there any questions about that? If you have any questions, you can go ahead and put that in the chat and I'll check in. I do see a question, can you please share the slides from this meeting and the last meeting? We will share the slides from this meeting. You'll get a follow-up email. And when you're saying the last meeting, Stacy, if you could just put in the chat which last meeting you're talking about. Is the last talking circle, or was it the new grantee orientation? If you could just sort of throw that in the chat, and I can make sure we can get that to you. All right, let's move forward. So as it relates to reporting reminders regarding your APR update, if you reported 999 in your APR, you must provide updates for those measures and email that to oie@seiservices.com. And you also want to copy Donna, your program officer, on that email. Those emails are due October 27th. APR updates must include all measures that you reported as 999 in the spring 2022 APR. Also, not just 999, but also if you need to correct any of the data that's in there, you want to make sure you do that. You complete the required form, ED 524B, Section A, and let me just take a moment and I will grab that for you and throw that in the chat. Okay, let me see. There it is. There you go. So you can have access to that document. Again, you are only providing updates on Section A. Complete that section, and then also if you maybe have new data or you did not submit your optional Section C tool or the information requested in that, we would really encourage you to submit that. Again, the due date is October 27th. There's that form that I attached in the chat. Just a reminder, I know you folks are probably professional at this, but just a reminder, because maybe some of you, even in your NCE, might be having a new project director. You want to make sure that you submit all GEPRA and project objectives. You do not include any new objectives, just update the ones that you submitted in May. And this includes an updated explanation of progress. So again, you want to make sure you are including an explanation of progress that relates to, where maybe this data came from, maybe it's end of year data, what form that data was collected from, whether it was maybe a survey or completion of a course. You really want to sort of update and share that information. Again, remember, for your GEPRA, you are not reporting any numbers in the target column. You are only reporting the ratio in the actual performance data. For your project measure, however, you do include the ratio, the target ratio, as well as the actual performance data. And I know, again, that you folks are professional at this, and it'll all be bright and shiny and ready to go. So now let's sort of switch to our new grantees. This is some of your business that's coming up. Again, budget revisions. I know we went over this in the last budget orientation, but we want to take some time to just remember some key points. Again, if you have any questions, you can go ahead and put that in the chat, and I'll check in once I finish going through these slides. So for year one grant award notification in your GANs, really there you want to make sure that in your GANs you are looking for any of the conditions that are there. That's just a sort of note I want to put at the top of this slide, and really sort of, if you have any questions regarding any of the conditions, that's a great question to bring up with Donna when you meet with her. Your G5 is should be current for each grantee. You carefully want to read your new GAN to verify that all information is correct, such as the project director, the level of effort, and the contact information. You want to make sure that you're keeping that for the life of your grant up to date. Pay attention to your award amount, noting any potential budget cuts from your proposal. Again, you want to make sure you are doing that, and not just you as a project director, but also sharing that information with your fiscal people to make sure that they know of any award amount changes and or any conditions that are related to the fiscal management of your grant. And you also want to review the GAN for any restrictions. And that's what I said at the top of this slide, which is really any conditions that you may be required to complete either before you get started or sometime during the life of your grant. Year one budget revisions. All grantees are required to submit a year one budget revision. Please use the updated NYCP optional budget revision form. And those budget revisions are due Wednesday, November 17th. I really want to encourage you to start. I'm sure a lot of you are starting to work on that. If you have any questions along the way, please get in touch with us at the OIE TA team, utilizing our OIE at SEI Services email. This is what the form looks like. I know we went over this in depth during your budget orientation meeting. This optional budget revision form will help you organize and provide all the information that's necessary to get your budget revisions reviewed and approved in a timely manner. Also on my screen and in the file, you'll see that we've updated some new tabs. I don't know if you could go ahead in the chat and let me know. I know we went through this again in the orientation. If you folks want to take a look at the form again or have any questions, let me know in the chat. If not, I'll move on. And when I say, as you're putting that in the chat, I just want to sort of clue you in. It's kind of hard to see, but at the bottom of the actual document, there are 3 tabs. And on those tabs, there's one for a budget revision form, which is the actual form you would use, the budget revision directions, and then an example of a budget revision. And let's see if I can grab that for you. I don't have year one. I will make a note to make sure we get that out to you in our follow-up email. Okay? So I'm checking the chat to see if anybody wants me to sort of go over this form. And I don't know why I don't have it. I took the picture of it. Let's see. Okay. Cancel. Budget revisions are, yes. So yes, budget email revisions are emailed directly to, here, we'll go to the next slide. Thank you. You can email that directly to Donna. And you can also email it to oie@seiservices.com right there, and then make sure you CC Donna. Okay, because we'll be helping Donna to keep track to make sure all those budget revisions are coming through, and then that way we can check back with you. As you're, again, like I said, as you are going through the process of developing this, it's really great to take some time to schedule a coaching session, to just review, make sure that all of that is making sense, that you have all the pieces, and then you can go ahead and then submit. If you have any questions along the way, we'd be happy to answer those questions. And let me go ahead and put that link in the chat. So again, here's our email, as well as the Calendly, which allows you to schedule a coaching session. Particularly when it comes to your budget revision and any budget matters, it's really helpful to include your fiscal manager, your bookkeeper, your accountant, whoever is working on the budget portion of this grant in these meetings. And definitely when we get to APR training, I want to really strongly encourage you to invite your fiscal people to come aboard and participate in those trainings, because it just sort of gets them aware of the requirements. We get a lot of questions from grantees' fiscal team about the actual forms and why they can't change formulas. And so if they haven't attended, they don't know that we have set up those formulas and locked them, so in order to get the right calculation. And so if they do go in and change any of that, it will jam up and mess up the calculations. And so really having them participate in those sessions is beneficial, not only for the completion of your report, but also to make sure everything is in there and is correct, and it helps for a speedy review process by Donna. So let's move on. I'm going to just check if there's any questions. If we sent this into Donna already, should we be set correct? Or do we need to send it to? So if you send it to Donna, that's fine. But remember, you need to get the budget needs to be approved by Donna in order to be considered like the actual revised budget. And so you want to make sure that you get that revised and approved. Sorry. But yes, you don't have to resubmit that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Olani, that's good. If you have your budget revision, send it to me, and we'll go over it, and I'll let you know if it was approved or not, or if there's anything we need to change, and I will upload those into your G5 file.
Awesome. Thanks, Donna. Okay, so this is again for our new grantees kicking off the new grant year. And so this year, we are creating, again, I know you heard about this in the orientation, but just in case you weren't able to make it, a Grant Leadership Academy that is happening. It's an in-person academy happening on December 9th at the U.S. Department of Education in Washington, D.C. And so you want to go ahead and in your budget revisions, you probably have put some money aside for travel for the project directors meeting. And so because this year, again, the project directors meeting will be happening virtually, this may be a place where you want to go ahead and make a budget revision and include this session as utilizing some of those travel funds that you had allocated for the project directors meeting. But that, again, is going to be happening December 9th. Hope you can make it. It's going to be really, the intent is really to set you up for success, to make sure you have all the tools that you need in order to have a successful project and program, as well as to meet each other and to work together on, again, the success of a NYCP program. For our new grantees, key steps to start the grant year right. Make sure that you have a copy of your full grant proposal. We know that some of you actually work with grant writers, whether it's in another department of your organization or maybe you actually contract for grant writers. You want to make sure that you have the full grant proposal that was submitted. Now you want to read it cover to cover. I think that was a lot of that was shared earlier in our discussions. A great idea is to use sticky notes to mark any areas where you may have questions for your organization, maybe questions for OIE, and also denotes key grant aspects. For example, your activities, objectives, outcomes, and budget components. Another area you might want to highlight is any of like the target areas that you were focusing on that you committed, whether it's grade level or school districts, because you really want to stay within the bounds of that. And if you maybe are thinking in the future of expanding, that is definitely something you need to have a discussion and get approval from with Donna. But these are really areas you want to denote. Also determine your project team. So this includes your staff as well as other people that you need for project success. Again, this harkens back to our earlier discussion regarding your fiscal personnel, project partners. A lot, I guess both Ali and Jackie were really talking about uh, project partners and making sure that you are engaging them and that they know a lot about what those key activities or the key aspects of your grant, whether it's activities, objectives, outcomes, or budget components, as well as sharing with them the possible tools you will be utilizing to collect that information and that data. Um, like I said earlier, with regards to the fiscal personnel, the more you can have them participate in appropriate technical assistance, the better your program will be. You don't want to, as it relates to drawdowns and fiscal reporting, keep them definitely in the loop. Determine who will accompany you to the Grant Leadership Academy. I think we are um, offering on a sort of first come, first serve basis. Um, Definitely your project director, you want to make sure attends. And I think we are providing maybe one other person. And definitely it's on a first come, first serve basis because of the capacity of the room. So you want to get that in and determine who will be attending. Get your full team on the OIE TA email distribution list. And so again, for any technical assistance as well as the project directors meeting and upcoming events, office hours. If you could send us their email and information, that's really helpful to keep your team in the loop. We, really consider all of us as part of your team, and so we want to encourage you to invite whoever you think is appropriate to invite. And let me just take a moment and check. Okay, can we send a flyer for the December so we can prepare and plan travel reservations? Okay, I will put a note that in our follow-up, we will send that out. Let me just write that down. All right, December invite. Okay, thank you. So I will, I'll make sure we include that in our follow-up to this meeting. Let me just check for any, okay, I think I got all the questions. So our next piece is this tool that we created. It is the our Padlet for NYCP. And so let me go ahead and put that link in the chat. And I want to encourage you to go on and take a look at that. We're just going to take a couple minutes as I again go through the chat, make sure I got all the questions. There is a question posed there about, excuse me, and it's in the third column. Please go ahead and put a blog there or a tab there. how you can do that is you go to the bottom of the page, you'll see a little plus sign in the circle. Go ahead and click on that, and that will allow you to create a post and just share what you're excited to accomplish in this grant year. So for some of you who are starting a new grant, um, it may be a new project that you're ready to get lifted and started, that you're really excited. Maybe you're planning for a summer program coming up and you're really excited about that planning. The others for NCE, there might be something, that you are doing new, something innovative based on your many years of working through this grant that you are kind of implementing. You can go ahead and provide that too as well. This Padlet, we like to, it sort of like houses documents and updates. I go into this Padlet every week to provide any kind of, see if you folks are putting any information in there, as well as to see if, oh, shucks, I am just getting a message that my link did not go through. So let me put that in again. Okay. Um, Sorry. I'm going to put the Padlet link in there again because it seems to have disappeared off of my chat. There, just in case you didn't get that. But again, I try to keep this up to date with all the information, and I check to see if you're posing any questions here or you are providing any information. So please take some time to go ahead. It's a really useful tool. We keep forms here. So, maybe sometimes your Google or your desktop like mine is a mess and you have to you're looking for a form. This is a place you can kind of go to and it will be housed here. All right. So moving on, as you are completing that on the Padlet, are there any questions that maybe you want to ask? You can come off of mute or you can go ahead and throw them in the chat.
Yes, this is Brenda Whitehorse with San Juan School District.
Hi.
And my question is, my question is, like, what location will the December meeting be located at in terms of travel, so that we can start planning our trip? And then also, is there like any additional information of where the meeting will be held and things like that?
Okay, great question. Go ahead, Donna.
Oh, so it will be in Washington, DC at at our U.S. Department of Education building.
Awesome.
And it looks like, Stacy, do you need us to RSVP to you? I think, Olani, aren't we sending something out?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll be sending the invite out. We will deliver. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll send that out.
Yeah.
Olani and the team will send that out to see if the project director, or if it's going to be your project director plus one.
Yes.
And no more than that
Mhm.
because of capacity issues. But we'll have that sent out soon. And it is for our new NYCP grantees, our
Yes.
FY22 cohort.
Yes. Yes. Awesome. Great questions. So I see that when there's a kind of a glitch that when you're on the Padlet, when you click on the plus sign, the hyperlink, it does not go anywhere. I'm really sorry about that. I will try to get in when this is done and see if I can correct that. You can go ahead and, if not, you can go ahead and share in the chat maybe something that you're excited about accomplishing this year. But thank you for letting me know. Okay, so we can move forward. Again, if you have any more questions that come to mind, go ahead and put in the chat. I will come back. I'll circle back around. But we want to come up, share some upcoming events. And so we will be again celebrating Native American Heritage Month celebration that will be coming up in November, on November 15th. I'm going to go ahead and put in the chat, excuse me, the registration link. We really want to encourage you to attend. It's going to be a great celebration. And of course, you know, for us working in Native country, every day is Native American Day. But this is a special time where we sort of take stock to celebrate and to remember and to educate others about the significance, impact, and history, and cultural and language, and all the contributions of Native Americans across the United States. And so we really want to encourage you to participate, and the registration link is right there. As part of that celebration, we will be opening up the OIE Student Artist Competition at that event. So again, we really want to encourage you to, you're starting new programs. Some of you are doing a lot of like cultural activities with your students. Think about maybe some activity you can do sort of early on, in order to have your students participate in this art competition. On at November, when we sort of unveil this competition, you'll see the grade levels, the different types of submittals that we'll be taking. Last year, we had written a grade level at all different grade levels. We had poetry, we had video, we had actual like beading, we had some painting and pictures, but it's sort of across all different formats and methods of art. And so we really want to encourage all your students and grade levels to really take advantage of this. What will probably happen, this is what happened last year, was we will announce the winners at the project directors meeting. So again, we really want to encourage you to think about this as a possible recognition of your students' great work, and to really sort of shine a light on their expertise and talent. Again, save the date, December 9th. Awesome. And then some of the upcoming events, we have our office hours coming up on October 27th. You can sort of, you probably got the invite, but this usually happens every fourth Thursday of each month, barring any holiday, and we'll let you know way in advance of any schedule changes. Also, again, your APR updates are due for our NCE grantees. They are due October 27th. Mark that on your calendar. And for the Grant Leadership Academy prep is coming up. The workshop will be on November 6th. That's really 16th, sorry. That's really to prep for the actual December gathering. And then for our year one budget revisions, those are due November 17th. So again, for our new grantees, your budget revisions, November 17th. And then the next NCYP Talking Circle will be January 19th. Same time, same place, and we look forward to seeing you there. But before we close out, I'm going to see if I can put up a poll here. Let's go. I'm going to launch this poll. We'd like to get your feedback on our talking circles, and you'll see this poll come up at all of our different events. We really use this data to improve our sessions with you, to make sure that they are relevant. So please take a moment to complete this poll. Great, I see you folks going through that. Awesome. So while you're doing that, I just want to again provide you with some contact information. You want to go ahead and contact, if you have any questions, you want to reach out to your NYCP program officer, you want to reach out to Donna, there's her email. Let me see if I can, oh shucks, what happened? Oh, got off track. I'll put that in the chat. Oops, sorry. Go ahead and email her as well as the OIE team for any technical assistance. Great. I love this participation. Thank you so much. This is so helpful. We really, really do utilize your feedback, again, to improve these sessions. And I want to just say again a sincere mahalo, which means thank you in Hawaiian, for participating and for sharing. That is really the heart of Talking Circles. I hope the business information we provided to you will be helpful. Again, if you have any questions that come to mind after this session, please feel free to contact us. We really want to start a strong relationship from the very beginning. Thank you again for attending your October 2022 NYCP Talking Circle. Welcome all of our new grantees, and for our NCE, thank you for providing all of your expertise at the beginning of our session, and we look forward to your continued sharing of your learning and expertise um, related to the NYCP grant.
Yes, thank you all. And if you have not set up a one-on-one meeting with me, please do so as soon as possible. Email me and let me know what works for you.
And as we say in Hawaiian, ahui ho, until we meet again. I will see you again in January. Aloha. Have a wonderful day.